Who are you?
I'm Charlotte.
Oh, hi, Charlotte. Everyone on three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Awesome. Hello and welcome to the Student Podcast. Today we are going to be talking about student accommodation and what it's like from switching from on-campus to off-campus accommodation in Ormskirk, especially for end of first year to second year students and all that sort of jazz. With me today, I have the ever wonderful, lovely, and always here, Emmanuel.
Hello.
And someone who we haven't met before. Who are you?
I'm Charlotte.
Oh, hi, Charlotte. So yeah, cool. And welcome. Yeah, so to start off, guys, I want to start with a very, very important and possibly controversial question. What is the worst accommodation on campus? See, I might have a controversial choice for this.
I think I will as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Chancellor South.
Really?
Is that the most expensive one?
I think so.
Yeah, because it's the same as the other Chancellors, but it's more expensive.
Yes.
And, like, what extra are you getting?
Is it not newer?
I think so, but how...
I thought Palatine Court was like the newest, nicest one you could get, but who knows?
It's one of those.
Main halls has some pretty new.
Yes, it did get refurbished recently.
And they're really good.
They're really good,
Yeah.
aren't they? So it can't. It's not. So we know it's not main halls.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think it is Forest Court, especially the not ensuite ones. And hear me out. You see, the thing is, back halls.
That was
Everyone-
my
Everyone
choice.
will automatically think either main halls or back halls. Back halls is just like rubbish. It's terrible. It's the cheapest one. But I think it's Forest Court because I've lived there, and I know that not only in back halls do you get a sink in your room. I think that's pretty cool. Some people might not think that, but anyway, you get a sink in your room, but you also get food lockers. In Forest Court, you do not get food lockers. I had to have food in my bedroom on top of my set of drawers. I just had like this pile of food, or I just sat there gathering dust, like the tins of like.
Not great.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And yeah, the rooms are bigger. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the rooms are bigger as well in back halls. Oh, sure, you don't have heating or hot water all the time, like. It just constantly explodes or dies. But it's cheaper. You know, I think back halls was better. And also the split. In Forest Court, you have 6 to 8 people in a cluster.
Yeah.
1 kitchen, 1 tiny fridge, 1 tiny freezer. In back halls, you have 2 kitchens per 10 people in the cluster.
Okay.
Right.
So more space per person per fridge freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're lucky, you have like 9 people in 1 kitchen and then you just have the other kitchen to yourself, which has happened. I know people who have had that and I am very, very envious of them.
Would be ideal.
What? So going back to like sinks in rooms. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, do you think?
Yeah, I'd say it's good, but in Forest Court, if you have it en suite, just keep the door open and it's basically a sink in your room.
Yeah, it's true.
So I kind of do see what you're saying. Back halls is good, like same size, get a fridge and stuff. But the shared bathroom would be the issue for me. But it is a lot cheaper, and think of what else you can spend your student loan on. But I do think Forest Court is the best because it's like the middle price, and you get an ensuite.
Some of them you don't get ensuite.
Yeah, so the ones that you do get ensuite. Okay. But yeah, like you said, the kitchen situation, that is quite bad, especially if you've got some weird eaters in your kitchen like I did.
We'll not mention any names, but it's a little bit of gossip. I wouldn't say, in my personal experience, I wouldn't say I had weird eaters, but literally my entire cluster was Chinese students, and so they would always be cooking something that smelled really, really interesting, but it would often be that they would take up the kitchen for a very long time. I remember being coming back late from some sort of event, and it was like 11:30 at night, and I still haven't had my dinner, and I also forgot to take the meat out of the freezer. Oh, my space in the freezer was literally the bottom box, little bottom bit.
Yeah.
That's how terrible it was.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but I had to go take that out of the freezer. But then whenever I open the door to the kitchen, it's just about 20 Asian students and one random white guy with a beard. And they're sitting around this massive table, and it dawns on me, it was Chinese New Year. And they're having a big celebration, which is like fair enough. But they've taken up the entire kitchen space. They got an extra table. Don't know where they got that from. But yeah, just this giant like table, and they're sitting around it, and there's like no, like very little room round to the freezer. I was practically on top of the counter as I tried to like shuffle around them, and then I opened the freezer door. It would only go about this far because it would hit my legs, and I had to like go down and open it slightly. It's not far enough. Twist round. I have a feeling that my butt might have been in someone's face.
Nice.
I apologize if you're ever watching this, someone in China. Not that you have YouTube. Maybe someone will send you this over WeChat. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, but that was my experience was of weird eaters. Did you ever have weird eaters in your accommodation?
I wouldn't know. We never kind of sat around and ate together.
Oh, that's right. You
Yeah, I
were
was in main halls.
you were in
and I
main
was,
halls, which was catered, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Was that like an everyday thing, or was it just like weekends? Because I know someone who was catered in main halls, but only like during the weeks, and then the weekends he had to cater for himself.
I mean, I think I got £60 each week, and I could spend that on whatever I wanted. So they may have spent theirs during the weekdays, and then
All right.
had nothing to
Overdone
spend
it.
on the weekend.
Mm.
But
How did you find the food? Was that like that 60 quid only for the?
it was for a week, and then.
Sorry, no. I mean, is it for like the on campus, like the food in the hub?
Yes,
Was that
yeah.
all you could use it on?
Yeah.
All right.
So just any of the UPay stuff that the campus
Ah,
had.
cool.
And then does it go into next week if you have some?
No, so it resets.
That's a
each
shame.
week. Yeah, it was. Because I didn't spend most of it. I always had some left over at the end of the weekend. Which is why I always had chicken bites whenever I came to your place.
Fair
Because I
enough.
had so much to spare. So
I was gonna ask you, how did you find the food?
you know, I enjoy them. I love them because it beats cooking.
Fair enough.
And yeah, they weren't bad actually. So
Mm.
there was a variety of stuff each week. So it went
Mm.
from chicken to potatoes to fish to things I'd never heard of before. So there's a variety of stuff. You know.
Mm.
That was nice.
Yeah, fair enough. How did you guys find like the noise in your accommodation? Was it like super rowdy? I know that some of us probably enjoyed the rowdiness more than others. I would occasionally go out, but my accommodation, these Chinese students were not particularly the most of the biggest partiers. But how did you guys find it? Because I know I've heard stories about main halls being quite insane. How did you find it, Emmanuel?
Well, fortunately, I wasn't in my room most of the time. I was out at Spoons or at Mackey's or doing
Oh
something
yeah,
else.
fair enough.
So I wasn't there most of the time. But when I was there, and there was parties which always went on, I think every week.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't loud enough that it got to me because I was right at the very top, and it was manageable. I could hear the noises and I could hear the loudness and screaming,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't to the point where it got annoying or
Mm.
problematic.
Fair enough. What about you, Charlotte?
Yeah, that's the same as me. You could definitely hear some like off in the background.
Mhm.
So how Forest Court is like a horseshoe shape.
Yeah.
Like our side seemed to be okay. Like I never had issues like sleeping or whatever. But then the opposite side, you'd see they had a few parties and got told off by security campers a few times. But yeah, I think that's why I didn't say main halls was my favourite accommodation because no back halls. I mean, because of all the stuff that I've heard from like the noise.
It is seen to be a very rough place.
Especially when you just want sleep, like you've just like been working all day, and then like even a pillow over the head won't do it.
Fair enough. Which one of Forest Court were you in?
Willow, which is like if you look at it, it's on the right hand side.
Is it like in the corner?
No, like one of the first doors.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
So you're right on the edge of like the U.
Yeah.
I think it went alphabetically, didn't it? Like,
yeah, like ash.
Yeah, all the way.
Beech.
Yeah.
Cedar.
Elm. Because I was in Elm. Elm and Cedar were like the ones that were like weird, I think. Or no, because I was in the corner, and then my one mixed up with, I think, Cedar or something else. I can't remember what comes after that.
Another tree.
Yeah, and then another one after that, I think.
Yeah.
And then ends in Willow.
Then ends in Willow. Cool. How did you guys feel about whenever you switched between being on campus to being part and parcel of the accommodation in Ormskirk? How did you find the process of finding a house, finding people to live with, and how have you guys managed it so far? That's a pretty loaded question, so you can just start off with like one piece of that or something.
I think for me it was rugby society. So a friend of mine who I lived with in first year, we got along so well, decided to go to rugby, made 2 friends there. And so then we were kind of a 4 and we're like, oh, let's look for a place to live. We managed to find a place pretty easy because we did it early because one of the girls was a second year student. So I think that helped because then she could be like, oh no, we've got to look early. Whereas if it wasn't for her, we might not have got the place that we did. So I think that was important that we got it early so we did get a good place. And yeah, it was just so much better. Like you didn't have the dread of, oh, I want to go make food. Am I going to have to socialise with someone that I don't really want to?
That's fair enough.
Dread.
And just like, just feeling more comfortable, it being more homely. Obviously noise levels are down. And also not having like I feel like when I was in living on campus, there was always this pressure, not said pressure, but kind of like pressure where I was like, oh, I should be really making the most of my first year, like going out, making friends and stuff. But like I'd got my like good friends from rugby and Christian Union. I didn't really want to go out much. So yeah, I think it's a lot better now that I live off campus, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. Similar, well, not similar story because I didn't play rugby.
But like society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of my friends as well are in the Christian Union. So I remember a group of girls that we were friends with. They got a house very early on, and I think through them we got to know their landlord or landlady, and we got to trying to find a house with her, and we're actually with her right now in one of her housing. And like you said, early searching is what helped us out as well.
So kind of the main thing I'm getting from you guys is find people that you have something in common with.
Yeah.
And just from recollecting my own experience, and you guys said also about finding it early, and you said about having someone who's done this before, a second year student, really, really makes a difference. I know from my own experience, I left it to the last minute. I also went with friends from a society, from the Christian Union as well. That seems to be the place to go if you want people to live with. Find the Christian Union at Edge Hill. You'll find some good people to live with. Some fine examples. Not so much me. But anyway, did you feel as though you would have, say, been able to have the same sort of house that you have now, or the same sort of friendship that you had now, had it not been for society, but maybe been someone on your course or someone else that you knew. I had friends that I was going to be staying with originally that were not part of my course and also not part of the Christian Union, but I had known just previously before Edge Hill, and just from my own experience, I don't know if that would have been the same. And the way that me and my friends actually worked out was really, really well, and I don't know if that friendship dynamic would have been the same had we had other people or not had the people that I was with. So how did you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think if I didn't put in the effort, then I wouldn't have the friends I have. So if we're going, well, I say that, but my best friend is from first year, who just happened to be in my same halls. But like the rugby friends, obviously I had to make an effort to go make them, and my Christian Union friends, I had to go turn up there. So yeah, definitely because of societies, I have those friends, and if I didn't go, then yeah, I would just have one friend.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think, yeah, very, very similar to what Charlotte's just said. I mean, in my accommodation, there are two people that aren't from the Christian Union, although one of them has been to the Christian Union before, but they're not, and I don't feel like it really affects my relationship with them per se. I mean, I think I'm a pretty nice guy, so I can get along with most of the people I meet. Yeah, but I feel like my relationship with my flatmate from the Christian Union has definitely developed since meeting him, and those that are not from the Christian Union has also developed, albeit just a bit, but it has developed.
That's good. That's always a good start, and always good to be able to witness to non-Christians. We're going to talk about advice for students. I know we've already talked a little bit about that, but if you had one piece of like really, really solid advice, what would it be for first years who are like transitioning into student accommodation off campus? Or would you advise them to stay on campus the following year? Because that is an option for some people.
Yeah, I think it really depends on if you think you found your people. And to do that, as cringe as it sounds, like you do have to like be true to yourself or whatever. But the second I like stopped thinking, oh, I need to do this because that's the stereotypical uni life, and I was actually doing what I wanted to do, like when I wanted to do it, then that's when I found like the best group of people, and then that's who I felt comfortable moving out with. Whereas if I didn't, I think I would have stayed on campus and sort of, had another go at it, tried societies, to find friends that I actually do want to live with, because at the end of the day you don't just want to move off campus for second year because you think it's the right thing to do, when you know that you're going to be stuck in your room and miserable because you don't have good connection with friends. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's very difficult to follow. Because that is good advice.
Smooth. That was very good advice. That will stay in, don't worry.
Well, I feel like you should, I think we've already said this, but finding a place early is a good start. And like you said, you should find people that you feel that you're comfortable with, that you don't have to make a lot of effort to be friends with. I feel like if you want to stay on campus, you should, but I don't think you can stay on campus for too long. So do try to make an effort to get involved, to make friends from as many societies as possible. That way it makes it easier to have people that you can actually move in with.
How have you guys found living off campus? And would you guys say that you prefer it, being with friends and being with people, just in general?
Yeah, definitely 100% prefer living off campus. Yeah, it just is more homely. Like the kitchen feels more of your own space. Like if you've got a sofa, I didn't have that in first year. Just like the small things like that definitely makes it more enjoyable. But then you are further away from the library.
That's true.
But I think I would always prioritise fun over uni work.
Of course. Good advice. Until that last bit, but who knows? You've preferred it as well, do you think?
Yeah, definitely preferred it. Like I said, my relationship with my housemates is better than those that aren't part of my house. And it's definitely better than staying on campus, because on campus I never had chance to really socialize with the people in my accommodation. And I think I only got to know one of them. And since the year ended, I haven't really spoken much to them. So definitely having a house is better than accommodation, campus accommodation. Yeah,
I agree with that as well. Both of you guys really. But the only people that I've really kept up with university are the people that I've lived with. Because I still live with them.
Yeah. Then again, I do miss the food though. And
do you? I miss McCall's whenever you go right before it closes and you get like one last like random thing, even though it cost way too much, but it was just the fact that it was so convenient.
Yeah.
I know you guys live somewhere where it's just like pretty convenient as well.
5 minutes.
And it's 5 minutes from like shops or stuff.
Yeah.
You live quite close to. You live in the middle of town.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
It took me 5 minutes to get to and from shopping as well. Although that 5 minutes, if you got like 2 bags of shops, I'd have to go through the centre of Ormskirk and then over a hill and down again to get to my house. And so if you're carrying shopping and it's like warm, things start to get very, very sweaty very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It just wrecks your shoulders and your hands. Shopping bags.
Yes.
You should lift.
I should be lifting more.
Bicep curls.
What sort of things did you guys look for whenever you were looking for a house? What was the must have in a house, or definitely must not have in a house? What was the sort of thing that you thought, definitely thought, that we can't go anywhere near that, or yes, we must have this?
I don't think we were very specific.
It's just like,
as long as
it's a house, it's got a roof and 4 walls.
You know, yeah, we'll go for it. I think we were looking for a good kitchen though, and a good living room space. And the one we have is quite big in terms of space. Not as big as the one you guys had last year. Yeah. But it's decent. You can have a couple of people in there.
And like things like kitchen space are very important.
Yeah.
The house I'm in at the moment has no countertop space whatsoever. I think in total, between 4 people that live at our house, we have about this much room of countertop space, half of which is taken up by our dishes. So, yeah. Was there anything that you definitely were looking for in a house whenever you decided to move out?
Yeah, so ours was ensuite. Not that we were like saying if it doesn't have an ensuite, we're definitely not getting it, but we viewed quite a lot of places because we definitely wanted to make sure. And all the houses that we viewed either just had just one bathroom, or like it was just a bit dark and dingy. And then we saw this place and it had ensuite, and like our kitchen is massive. Yeah. So much counter space, and just a lot of room for activity. And we were like, yeah, this is definitely it. And obviously it's close to town and the bus stop, so that's
Was
good.
It pricey though? I don't want to like ask how much you're spending on that, but like, did you feel like it was a fair price for what you got, or a good deal?
Yeah, so I think on campus was £100 a week.
Yeah.
And this one is £110 a week.
Oh, okay.
And so I think it's good, like £10 extra to be closer to town, to have extra space. Like we got a sofa now, and just to be a bit more comfortable, more homely.
Yeah. Did you get bills included and things like that?
Yes, yeah. Bills included.
So that's a very good deal.
Yeah.
Wow. My accommodation was £100 for £5 a week, and only half of our bills included. It was a very weird system, but and it was also further away. But I had a massive room, which used to be like 2 rooms, and then because of like regulations, they had to knock one down. So I ended up having 2 wardrobes as well, which was great. But I had like no sets of drawers or anything like that. It was just 2 wardrobes. But yeah, so no, that's a very good deal. So look for things that are around the £100 range, 110, have bills included, close to town, close to things like the bus station. I think you got a very, very good deal. You, Emmanuel, on the other hand, live on the edge of nowhere.
Yes, but it is far cheaper than...
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and we get a gardener. So
fair enough.
Yes, yes, quite far away from town, but I don't feel like that really makes much difference to me, because I enjoy the walk anyway, and it's a great way for me to exercise.
Yes.
I don't get enough of that anyway, so the walk, I welcome it. So yeah, it's a very decent price for what we're getting.
How long does it take you to get to campus?
It depends on what part of campus you're talking about.
Oh, right. So like the edge of campus, just like the very tail end of it.
15-20 minutes.
Ah, that's not bad,
yeah,
actually.
It's not too bad.
I'd say it roughly took me roughly the same time, actually. And that was kind of middle of Ormskirk, really. What kind of time of year did you guys start looking for houses?
I think we had to decide on our house before December.
Really?
So before we left for the Christmas break. Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah. And there was a bit of pressure because we wanted to make sure the tenancy agreement was, good, and there was no dodgy stuff going on there. But yeah, just before the Christmas break.
Did you kind of get help to see like whether or not the tenancy agreement was fair, or do you think there was like a couple of dodgy things or anything like that in it?
I mean, it was always good to be safe. So I didn't get anyone else to look. I just kind of quickly glanced at it and read it. But I feel like
seems all right.
My flatmate and the others really scrutinize it. So
okay. If you had to go get help for it, where would you look? Would you have gone to like your parents, or is there something on campus or friends that you know?
I think campus did offer help with finding accommodation, housing. So I'm sure there would have been someone to help.
Fair enough.
But I think I would have just gone to my parents.
What about you? When did you decide that you wanted that place and got that great deal?
I think it was actually very early on, because I know we were the first people to look at this flat. That's what the guy told us. And by the time we had chosen it and agreed on it, paid the deposit, I think it was like end of October.
Wow.
So it was super early, and it's not like we were in a rush or anything, there are people that sign it just after Christmas, but we were like, you just may as well, like we found it, we don't want anyone else to get it, and yeah, with the contract stuff, you just look for how much you're paying and like how long it is, and the likelihood that you're going to get your deposit back, but yeah, I got my mum to have a glance at it, because obviously she has to sign it as well.
Yes.
So yeah, I wouldn't say I got too caught up in the contract. Probably didn't even read it all myself. But yeah, that was pretty early on. But then it just gives you that peace of mind, especially if you found your group that you want to live with. You just may as well go find a place.
You guys just clicked really instantly, didn't you? Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. Go and get your house really early. Really early. Extreme. So you basically started university and you're like, let's find a house. That's what you should do, everyone. And thank you and good night. Hello there. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Student Podcast. If you are a first-year student or are hoping to move off campus, check some of the links down below in the description box, where you'll find some advice or some much-needed help on where to go, what to look for, and what not to do. So, get in early, good luck, and God bless.